During the 1990s, Outback Steakhouse experienced explosive growth. Opening its first location in Tampa back in 1988, the chain had mushroomed to over 500 U.S. locations plus 40 international outlets by 2000. The company's trajectory looked so promising that billionaire Warren Buffett invested heavily, acquiring 1.9 million shares. At its peak, Outback had cemented itself as America's leading casual steakhouse empire. Unfortunately, that success story has taken a dramatic reversal in recent times. Today, Outback operates under the umbrella of Bloomin' Brands, a publicly traded corporation established in 2012 and named after the signature Bloomin' Onion appetizer. The parent company also owns Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bonefish Grill, and the upscale Fleming's Prime Steakhouse. While Outback generates more than half of Bloomin' Brands' revenue, the entire corporation has faced serious headwinds. The stock value has plummeted over 40% in the past year alone, representing a sharp decline from where it was before. Leadership restructuring has been significant, with Mike Spanos stepping into the CEO role during 2024. In his statements, Spanos admitted the company's results have disappointed stakeholders and that a fundamental shift in direction is necessary. The numbers tell a troubling story. Bloomin' Brands is operating at historically low sales volumes. More alarmingly, Outback has been shuttering locations at an accelerating pace. In October 2025 alone, the chain closed 21 restaurants across multiple states. With an additional 22 closures planned through 2029, the company is essentially admitting it overexpanded. Several shuttered locations belong to the original group of 50 restaurants. This contraction suggests deeper problems beyond temporary market fluctuations. In this exploration, I'm going to examine how Outback arrived at this crossroads by analyzing 6 fundamental shifts that undermine the brand's position, plus what management is attempting to do about it. 1. The Australian aesthetic problem. While Outback's Australian theming seems superficial, it actually matters more than you might think. Walk into any location and you'll encounter kangaroo imagery, cork hats, and references to the Outback. Yet the cuisine bears virtually no resemblance to actual Australian food. The founders deliberately avoided visiting Australia, fearing authentic experiences would reshape the menu. Instead, they borrowed inspiration from Crocodile Dundee, the 1986 blockbuster about an Outback man in New York City, because the sequel was launching soon and seemed culturally relevant. The restaurant concept blended American cuisine with Australian flavor through decor, naming conventions, and entertainment vibes. This approach paralleled other 1990s phenomenon-based concepts like Rainforest Cafe and Planet Hollywood, all of which have faded considerably. The core problem is simple. Australian culture no longer captivates American audiences the way it did 30 years ago. Trendy TV shows featuring Australian characters, the Crocodile Hunter phenomenon, and bands like the Wiggles dominated the late 1990s pop culture landscape. That cultural moment has completely evaporated. Modern diners simply don't find vintage Australian theming compelling anymore. 2. Relentless competitive pressure. Outback faces assault from multiple directions. Casual dining itself has weakened thanks to fast casual disruptors like Chipotle that redefined customer expectations around speed, customization, and freshness. Legacy casual dining icons Red Lobster and TGI Fridays have collapsed into bankruptcy. The steakhouse category specifically has fractured into competing camps. Texas Roadhouse has emerged as the dominant casual steakhouse operator as of 2024, ascending to the top position among all casual dining chains in America. The chain generates approximately $5.5 billion in annual sales with consistent double-digit growth. LongHorn Steakhouse, operated by massive parent company Darden, maintains steady momentum with positive comparable sales quarters. Both chains emphasize steaks plus exceptional value propositions. Texas Roadhouse's signature appetizer, the Cactus Blossom, directly mirrors Outback's Bloomin' Onion concept. By 2025, Outback has slipped into third place within its own steakhouse category. Customers willing to choose steak restaurants are choosing competitors instead. 3. Questionable pricing strategy. When comparing wallet impact, Outback charges considerably more than the alternatives. The typical guest tab reaches approximately $29 per person. Texas Roadhouse averages around $22, which notably includes complimentary peanuts and their signature honey-buttered rolls, while LongHorn sits at $26. That price differential matters, especially when customers perceive similar quality and experience. Beyond pricing, the physical properties themselves feel antiquated. Most Outback locations haven't undergone meaningful renovations, creating tired, uninspired atmospheres compared to competitors. However, Bloomin' Brands recognized this liability and committed $75 million to comprehensive restaurant upgrades. The investment covers brightened interiors, redesigned bar configurations, optimized kitchen layouts, and enhanced takeout spaces. The company intends to touch every Outback location by the end of 2028. 4. Operational bloat and inefficiency. Originally, Outback's founding team prioritized streamlined operations and delegated authority to local managers. This decentralized model fostered entrepreneurial restaurant leadership. Regrettably, the original architects gradually lost influence, and their operational philosophy deteriorated. One famous example: early Outback locations closed midday because lunch service seemed unprofitable and exhausted staff. Additionally, avoiding daytime hours meant restaurants could occupy lower-rent neighborhoods away from business districts. Starting in 2015, management decided to serve lunch nationwide as a defensive competitive move. Yet many of those lunch-era locations occupied poor positions for midday traffic, complicating operations without corresponding benefits. Staffing ratios also shifted unfavorably. Originally, each server managed 3 tables. That expanded to 6 tables per server, creating service problems. Recently, testing showed that returning to 4 tables per server generated better customer satisfaction scores, so adjustments are underway. Restaurant menus ballooned with complexity, forcing kitchens to manage excessive SKU counts and complicating inventory. Management recognized this mistake and is actively trimming menu offerings. Added technologies like tabletop payment systems reduce server interactions. Overall, Bloomin' Brands acknowledges operational complexity had grown unwieldy and is implementing simplification initiatives. 5. Scattered attention across too many brands. In 1993, Outback purchased half of Carrabba's Italian Grill, a 2-unit Houston operation. Within 2 years, Outback obtained full rights to expand Carrabba's nationally. This pivot reflected legitimate strategy. Outback had already saturated much of the available real estate, so branching into different restaurant concepts offered expansion opportunities. Bonefish Grill followed in 2001 as a 3-location acquisition. However, Wall Street and industry observers repeatedly criticized Outback for spreading capital and management energy across multiple brands rather than doubling down on the core concept. This resembled the menu bloat problem. Diversification created distraction. Resources supporting Carrabba's or Bonefish represented opportunities cost for strengthening Outback. The parent company's stock decline reflected investor disappointment with this unfocused approach. Recently, though, Bloomin' Brands signaled a strategic reset. The organization is reallocating resources back toward Outback as the flagship brand, reducing investment in peripheral concepts. 6. Accumulated reputation damage. While no single catastrophic scandal destroyed Outback, a series of incidents gradually corroded public perception. In 2003, an allegedly overserved customer drove away from an Outback location, hit a cyclist, and continued driving for 9 minutes before stopping. The cyclist sustained severe injuries, resulting in litigation that ended with a confidential settlement. In 2009, federal employment regulators sued Outback alleging gender discrimination in job assignments and managerial advancement, ultimately resolving for $19 million. A 2016 wage dispute lawsuit accused the company of unpaid shift prep work, internally called Outback Time, settling for $3 million. Beyond legal matters, social media criticism compounds problems. In 2011, staff accidentally served alcohol to a young child. Shockingly, the error recurred in 2024 with another child. An unhinged conspiracy theory circulated in 2017 about supposed satanic operations. In 2018, controversy erupted when management asked a uniformed law enforcement officer to leave a restaurant while armed. These incidents individually might seem minor, But collectively, they've built a negative narrative that discourages trial among skeptical consumers. The comeback attempt. To Bloomin' Brands' credit, new leadership has outlined an aggressive restoration strategy. In November 2025, management unveiled a $75 million investment and restructuring plan designed to reposition Outback as an accessible, quality steakhouse providing genuine value. The strategy emphasizes premium steak sourcing and expanded grilling capabilities with newer equipment. Service improvements target the 4-to-1 server-to-table ratio mentioned earlier. Marketing campaigns focus on rebuilding brand relevance with younger demographics. Simultaneously, management identified approximately $30 million in cost reductions through supply chain optimization and operational efficiency. The company introduced a value-focused menu item, the Aussie 3-course meal at $14.99, which has attracted budget-conscious diners. Q3 2025 results showed modest promise. Outback achieved its first positive comparable sales result in over 24 months, registering a 0.5% increase. While incremental, this represents the initial sign of stabilization. The wager is that returning to Outback's core identity, dependable steakhouse, enjoyable environment, solid service, approachable pricing, can persuade consumers that Outback merits their restaurant budget once again. Final thoughts. I genuinely appreciate hearing your perspective on Outback Steakhouse. Does it still deliver an entertaining dining experience with solid food? Or has it transformed into a dated concept worth skipping? What's your forecast for the change trajectory? Given the company's recent initiatives, do you believe the turnaround efforts have realistic potential? I'm also open to feedback on whether my analysis captured the key factors. Are there other significant issues you'd add, or points you challenge? Whatever your take on Outback Steakhouse, I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.